Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Toynami Futurama. This is the Santa Robot Build-A-Bot part wave, and we're looking today at Amy. Okay, let's grab a tape measure. That's the way we go and figure out how tall she is. She's 5 1/4 inches in height. She comes with actually a lot of accessories, one of which being an interchangeable hand, and this brings up some bad memories. An interchangeable arm holding a machine gun that you can swap out for the existing arms that came with Clobberella, or at least one of the arms. Move everything over, we'll move Amy over, and let's bring in Robot Santa that we've accomplished so far. If you remember, backtrack to the review of Clobberella, there was no socket in the shoulder area of the torso, so ultimately, yeah, the arm did not want to stay in place. I have reached out to the seller and expressed my concern for the fact that it was sold with a broken piece. I think what has ultimately happened is there's a glued part right here. I think that part has come out and the seller just didn't indicate it. So again, I'm not very happy. He's going to be making my naughty list. Ultimately, I may have to just kind of wedge the arm, just kind of like that for the time being. Let's pray nothing is wrong with the head. So you do get that. You get the interchangeable arm. And then you also get this, which is the top spike poof, a little pom-pom that can go to the end of Santa's hat. He does actually already have one, but he doesn't have one with the spikes on it, so you can swap this out if you so wish. And then lastly, she also comes with like a little blaster, which is actually painted quite nicely in a shade of what I can only describe as like a brownish gray mixed with a very pale color of blue. Let's very gingerly move Robot Santa over, and there goes the arm again. You can take the blaster and fit it into her hand like so. It even allows the pinky, or the pointer I should say, the pointer finger, to go through and attach itself to the trigger as if she's actually really holding it and not just simply gripping the gun. Let's take this out of her hand, and having a look at Amy. She's not a bad figure. I don't know. She's awfully blocky. Like there's really not a whole lot you can do with the figure. Of course, you get posability in the arms, and you know, as a complement to at least her versus Clobberella, she does have joints that hinge outward. Which, unfortunately, if we look at Clobberella again, which is this one right here, she did not have that. She had the ability to bring her arm up, kind of rest against her head, but she did not have posability on the arms outward, which I really think is just missed. Something that they really missed the ball on. Amy, at least, like I said, does come with that, so she does have the posability going on there. Nothing really in the wrists. That's not true. One wrist, this one other wrist just doesn't seem to want to move. And that's it. I mean, she doesn't really have a whole lot of posability. Sculpt is pretty good. Areas in which Amy, I think, can be difficult and a tricky figure to accomplish is her hair. Taking a two-dimensional image and converting it to a three-dimensional figure can be awfully tricky. And a lot of times it misses its mark when it comes to, maybe like front on, it looks like Amy. But I think as you kind of move the hair around, it doesn't look, it looks weird, a little awkward in the hair sculpt. It doesn't really resonate as much the spiky hair as she does have in the cartoon. Kind of like slightly from the side doesn't look as bad, but like front and the back, it doesn't look at all like, in my opinion, I don't think it looks like her hair. Face sculpt is pretty good. Her nose seems awfully flat, but I mean, going back and watching episodes, again, you're taking a two-dimensional and converting it to three-dimensional, but I feel like the nose should have been a little bit more rounded, but still flat, but it's hard to describe. It should have been rounded, but not nearly as flat. Impossible, I know, to describe, but hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. The skin tone isn't terrible, but it does awfully look a little muddy as well. It looks a little pasty, it looks a little goopy, like they've added a lot of paint to it, that it doesn't look as nearly, it looks like there's multiple layers of paint that then have been slopped onto it. The face sculpt is good, but she doesn't really have much in the way of a smile, very neutral face. Similarly to looking at Clawbarella, both figures really have very little in the way of expression, which is disappointing. She should have been given a smile or something. Unfortunately, she doesn't have that. And she's got her like little wrist, I think it's like a wrist watch or a little wrist communicator thing on her arm, wearing her jogging outfit, top sweats, hooded tee, and if the camera can focus, she's also got the lower jogging pants as well, and down to her boots. The paint that they used also from the lower leg doesn't seem to quite match with the coloring that they put on the chest and as well as the face. It seems like it's a little paler in comparison. Oh, and yes, by the way, she does have pegholes on the undersides of her feet, but by the nature of the way that this particular figure is, again, very straight, there's not really a lot that's throwing her off. She stands perfectly fine, although, again, she doesn't have the most posability. She's kind of like Clawbarella from that standpoint. She has one of the least amounts of posability from these figures. Getting ready to review these figures, I did some research as well, and I don't think all of them were Series 4. I think they kind of spaced the figure line out among a couple of different waves where they released only a couple figures at one go, eventually building the Robot Santa. I know in previous videos I had mentioned Series 4. May not 100% be accurate by that. We're just going to go ahead and call it the Santa Robot Build-A-Part Wave, which is really what they're listing as the packaging. The packaging doesn't even list a series number. It only exclusively lists it as the Santa Robot Build-A-Part Wave. So we'll go with that when it comes to describing these videos in the description below each of the reviews. Anywho's, looking at Amy, I do like the figure. It does fall under the problem of Do taking a two-dimensional image and changing it to a three-dimensional. I think Amy does work better than, say, Clawbarella. Clawbarella's big problem was that she didn't have a really great facial expression. I admit that Amy could have had a smile, but I think she's got a better looking sculpt than, say, Clawbarella. She looks a little bit more accurate than she does in the cartoon itself. It's not to say that she isn't without her problems. She doesn't have a whole lot of posability to speak of. The hair is a little questionable, but overall I think it's a pretty decent enough figure. And it also brings us one step closer to finishing the Santa robot, which I know is not going to be 100% correct because it is going to be missing the shoulder socket that I'm not going to really be able to do it 100% justice. So guys, do bear with me as we have a look at the remaining figure and of course Robot Santa. It's not going to be 100% as perfect as I would hope it would be. Needless to say though, today we're having a look at the Futurama. This is the Santa Robot Build-A-Part Wave, and today we're having a look at Amy. Not a bad figure. I would say probably middle of the mark. It's not the worst. It's not one of the better figures. She's kind of in the middle. If you guys haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to this channel, hit that little subscribe button. It's just below this video here, and you'll never miss a beat when it comes to future videos, which also means all the rest of the Christmas-related themed videos that are going to be running the course of this month. You'll never be able to miss those as well. And also, I know I haven't mentioned this for a while, but right below this video, there's that little bell notification. If you haven't done it already, make sure you hit that little bell notification below this video so that you can turn on your notifications and you'll always know when I've got new videos coming up online. Just a little 411 there for you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.